what to do in Barbados when you get tired of sea, sun, and sand. The small island of Barbados, a part of the Lesser Antilles, is best known for four things, three of which begin with the letter S. There's the sun, the sea, the sand, and the fact that Barbados is where Rihanna is from. The three S are a major part of the tourist draw to the island. Because of its position, Barbados is usually spared the worst weather that hits the region, so the first S, sun, is always there. The third S is actually incorrect, as Barbados is surrounded by the ocean and not by a sea, but nevertheless, it's still gorgeous. But what happens when you take away these three S from Barbados' unregistered trademark tourist draw? Would there still be anything to do and see there? Well, there wouldn't be as much, but still enough to warrant a trip, or a few, to the island. Yes, Barbados is more than just sun and sea and sand, and here's where you should drive your rental car next time you're there. Churches and religious places. If you don't know already, Barbadians are religious people. In fact, the religious streak runs through the history of Barbados since it was first claimed by the Spanish explorers back in the late 15th century, and where history and religion cross paths, there are always some beautiful old churches that provide a place for worship and a lesson in history. For example, did you know that the oldest synagogue in the Western Hemisphere is located in Bridgetown? It was built in 1654, it was destroyed by a hurricane, and then rebuilt, then completely neglected, then sold, only to be bought back in 1983 by the Jewish community and completely restored to its former glory. Then there's the St. John Parish Church, built in 1836 to replace a church that was destroyed by a hurricane. It's a beautiful Gothic church which contains the remains of a former Prime Minister of Barbados, Honourable David John Howard Thompson. Sugar, rum and history. Sugar played a vital role in the history of Barbados, a role that wasn't all that positive. Learning about how sugarcane plantations shaped Barbados into the country it is today is something that shouldn't be skipped. The best place to start would be Arlington House Museum, located in an 18th century merchant's house in historic Spacetown. It is the best museum on the island, so it's the best starting point for learning about Barbados history. St. Nicholas Abbey is not an abbey at all, it's a very well-preserved plantation house in St. Peter, often called one of the seven wonders of Barbados. And speaking of sugarcane, you can't go to Barbados and not visit at least one rum distillery. Just be sure you have a designated driver with you to drive your rental car if you end up tasting more rum than you can handle. Sports. For the sport lovers, Barbados can be a bit strange. It's not that it doesn't offer plenty of chances to enjoy sports, it's just that anyone outside the Commonwealth of Nations, that is outside of the British cultural influence, won't find that much to do or see when it comes to sports in Barbados. For example, you can watch horse racing at the Barbados Turf Club in Bridgetown, or polo and cricket, which are sports that aren't that popular in the world outside of the UK and its former colonies. For sports you can actually do, there's golf at the Barbados Golf Club Endurance, horseback riding at the Caribbean International Riding Centre at the Cleland Plantation, and shooting, archery and fishing at the Kendal Sporting in Carrington. At the end, even if you take out the most striking features of Barbados, its beaches, the ocean, and the beautiful weather, it's still a place with a lot of natural appeal. Hunt's Gardens at Castle Grant, the Flower Forest at the Richmond Plantation, the Wildlife Preserve at Farley Hill, and the Andromeda Botanic Gardens are places you have to visit. Yes, some of them are man-made, and most of them are cared for by humans, but they nevertheless feature the best things nature has to offer, and in that regard, are a true heart of the majesty and beauty of Barbados.